Hello and welcome back to my channel where we go beyond the design to build something beautiful. Today I'm showing you the bookcase that I built for my daughter's room. She's in her almost ready to turn 20. She wanted me to build her a bookcase, and I was very intimidated by it because I wanted it to have an arch on the top just for the design of her room. I felt like an arch would look really good in here. It's a very organic, modern type of room. I just felt like that arch would just really stand out. So in building her bookshelf, her arched bookshelf, it's very simple. I used a couple sheets of plywood and that is it. I didn't use any other wood besides the plywood. It was really that simple. The arch, simply used a ruler to get my arch. You can see that when I show that in the slides coming up, how I did that, and just made it very, very simple to draw that arch and then to cut it. For my first time, it's not perfect by any means, but it's pretty good for my first time drawing and cutting out an arch. And so I feel like this method of how I did that made it really, really easy. The paint color I chose for this is Shade Grown by Sherwin-Williams. I love the contrast of the green with the pink. I feel like they complement each other very, very well. They're both very warm colors. They coincide together very nicely. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more great content. First, we're going to cut the sides of our bookshelves. Cut two side pieces at 93.5 inches by 10 inches. Now we're going to cut the shelves. 8 shelves at 26.5 inches by 10 inches. Using a Kreg jig, drill 3/4 inch pocket holes on both ends of each shelf. You'll want to drill 3 sets on each end. To make this project a little easier, we're going to make guides. To do this, we're simply going to cut scrap wood to know where to place each shelf. 2 pieces of scrap wood at 4 inches long, 2 pieces of scrap wood at 14.5 inches long, and 2 pieces at 12.5 inches long. Place your 2 4-inch guides at the bottom of your side panel. Make sure they're flush with the ends of the side panel and use clamps to hold them in place. Attach your first shelf using 1 1/4 inch pocket hole screws. Now you're ready to place your next shelf. For this shelf, you'll use the 14-inch guides. Place your 14-inch guides against the shelf you already attached, and there's no need to clamp them this time. Add your next shelf and make sure the guides are straight and flush against both shelves. Using 1 1/4 inch pocket hole screws, you now have 2 shelves in place. Now you're ready to place your middle shelves. Using the 12.5 inch guides and following the same steps as before, attach 4 more shelves. Now you have 5 shelves attached. For the last visible shelf, you're going to use the 14-inch guides again, following the same steps. The last shelf isn't really a shelf, but will be a place to attach our crown molding. We're going to place it at the top of our side panel, making sure it's flush with the end of the side panel using 1 1/4 inch pocket hole screws. Now you're ready to attach your other side panel. Now this step takes a little bit of muscle, or maybe even 2 people. You're going to lay your remaining side panel flat on your workspace. Flip your partially built shelving unit on top of this side panel. Make sure it's lined up straight with the side panel. Now you're ready to attach all of the shelves to the other side panel, following the same steps. Be sure to use the guides for straight, level shelves. When attaching the back panel, cut it to fit and use a brad nailer or nail gun. Now you're ready to add a trim piece to the bottom. Cut a piece of plywood to fit below the bottom shelf and in between the side panels. Then you'll use 1 1/4 inch wood screws from the outside of the side panels. Now we're ready to make the arch. Cut a piece of plywood to the following dimensions, 28 inches by 21 inches. Find the center of this piece of plywood, which will be 14 inches. Mark that spot. Draw a faint line down the center of the board. Measure in 1 inch from the sides and bottom of the board. Mark it and attach a nail in each spot. Decide how far down you want the top of your arch to be. Attach a nail in the center of the board at that measurement. For me, I went about 6 inches from the top. Weave your long metal ruler inside the 2 bottom nails and outside the top nail. Draw your arch with a pencil. and then use a jigsaw to cut out your arch. To clean up any of the rough edges, run an orbital sander over the arch. Use 1 1/4 inch wood screws to attach it to the top of your bookshelf. Following the directions on the packaging, attach edge banding to cover up all of the rough edges. Fill all of your nail holes with wood filler and sand the entire piece with a 220 grit sandpaper. And now you're ready to paint your beautiful arched bookshelf. For a more detailed look at this DIY project, be sure to check out the full tutorial linked below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more great content.